Furina is the best character in the game. But what people don't tell you is that she's not perfect. Because people really love to say that she is, even though there actually are quite a few massive things that people just don't tell you about or they don't think about. But luckily, I'm here to explain to you Furina's kit in detail, along with more detailed stuff like her energy economy, her application, and potential problems with her kit. The fact that she is a Hydro sub DPS does mean that she is already going to have a lot of value, but how does she stack up to the best of the best like Xingqiu and Yulan? Well, let's get into the kit then, shall we? But before we get into that, how about you take a second to like and subscribe? I put a lot of effort into helping you guys, and I want to see my channel grow, so if you want to see my channel grow as well, it would be awesome if you did that, because it really does help and it boosts me further into the algorithm. We're going to start off with her normal attack, which for most supports is pretty useless, but for Furina, it actually serves a pretty useful purpose, because when she does a charge attack, she is going to be switching from Numa and Ouija, which will have a more detailed effect on her kit when we get to her elemental skill. Her normal attacks can also apply the Numa or Ouija effect, which is going to be handy when dealing with certain Fontaine enemies. But this is not really a major thing, it's just kind of a gimmick. Now when we get to her skill, this is when things get really funny. So, in Ouija mode, or let's just say damage mode, she is going to summon the Squad, which is 3 little guys who all attack at different intervals. And they are going to be draining your entire team's HP to boost their own damage. But you don't have to worry about dying to these little guys, because they're going to stop draining your HP at 50%. So, when you get to 50% HP, they're going to lose damage, yeah, but at least you're not going to fucking die. In healing mode, oh well, I guess I kind of spoiled it there, it's going to heal the active party member, but it's not going to do any damage, and it's not going to apply any Hydro, which means that during the rotation, you do not want to use this. You're going to be wanting to use this after the rotation is already over, and you're preparing for the next rotation. Trust me, this healing and the HP drain is going to be important because of her burst. Now, her burst is going to do a singular tick of Hydro damage, and then for 18 seconds, your entire team will be getting their damage bonus and their healing bonus buffed based on a certain stat counter that Furina has. And this stat counter is going to go up based on how much HP their characters are going to recover or lose, which means healing and similar HP draining abilities like Furina's E or Nouvelette's charge attack. This is where the first problem with Furina's kit arises. The problem is that if you are just repeating your rotations over and over again without looking at your character's HP, you're going to be losing a lot of damage by not paying attention, and also you're not going to be getting any HP drain, and you're also not going to be getting any healing if you're not running a healer outside of Furina herself, which means that in the end, your burst will be kind of useless if you don't pay attention to it, which is a good thing for some, because that means you don't have to build any energy recharge, which we're gonna get into. But for a lot of teams, this is not good, and it's only good in teams like Nouvelette teams, where there's already someone healing himself and draining his own HP, stacking the counter up higher and higher. Luckily, the game designers kind of thought of this, but it's a very shitty solution. Because her first Ascension passive is going to be healing one member of the team if someone gets overhealed from a source that's not Furina's own healing. But this passive talent's kind of shit because it scales very low, which means you're basically going to get like no healing out of it. Her fourth Ascension passive is actually really good, however, because it means for every 1000 points of HP, her damage and healing is going to get buffed. This is actually massive, because it means that in a lot of situations, running an HP cup on her is going to be better than Hydro damage, which means it's going to be a lot easier to farm for her. As for her Constellations, that's going to be an entire different ordeal. Her C1 is very simple, as it's basically just going to give your entire team 30% damage bonus extra when you use her burst. Yeah, it's just that simple. That's a lot of damage bonus for just a singular Constellation. Although, I would personally not go for it, because it's just kinda eh. It's not really eh, it's just that it's 30% damage bonus, and I don't really consider that to be worth it for an entire 5-star. Although, it does kind of solve the issue where her burst basically doesn't stack if you don't heal. But you want to heal anyway for the extra E damage, so it's not that relevant. Her C2 is... what the fuck, this is an essay sandwich. But what it comes down to is, for 10 seconds after using your E, you're going to be getting Hydro Infusion on your normal attacks, as well as HP scaling. And then, depending on which arc alignment you're in, you're either going to be healing your entire team, or you're going to be draining their HP. Because in healing mode, you're going to drain their HP, and then in damage mode, you're going to heal them. I think damage mode is overall going to be better, because yeah, you do less damage, but you are going to be topping off your team, which means your burst is going to be stacking a lot faster, and I think that's going to lead more damage in the long run. Her C4 is just going to be giving you more energy, which, you know, nice I guess, but it's not worth a fucking C4. And then her C6 is also an interesting one, because when your burst is active, the amount of stacks you're going to be getting for it is going to be increased by 200%. It's just literally going to be free-folded. And for every point that you're going to have, you know, over the limit, her max HP is going to increase, which leads to a lot more damage too, because not only is she an HP scaler, it also synergizes pretty well with her Ascension 4 passive, which will be increasing her damage based on her HP. This is when I'm going to get into the more interesting stuff, being her ICD and her energy economy. I'm going to start off with the ICD because that's easier. Because her skill does AoE hydro damage, she already has a lot of value and is at least on par with Kokomi, but her application needs to be good too. Now, I'm proud to say that her application is going to be slightly worse than Yelan, and because she isn't an AoE, that's insane. That's a lot of hydro application for just casting your E and just fucking off. That's incredible. Like, I don't know how to emphasize how good that is. She's likely going to be a new essential part of the double hydro core, or hell, we're gonna play triple hydro, I guess. And now as for energy economy, this is where I'm kind of in despair. As I just said, you're likely going to be playing her in double hydro, so it's less bad than you'd initially think, but based on my calculations, if you're playing her solo hydro without any Favonius weapons, you're gonna need so much energy recharge that you basically don't get to build for damage. So I genuinely can't recommend playing her as a solo hydra as much as I'd want to, unless you're perfectly fine with just not bursting as often, which, you know, I will be. But, you know, not everyone's gonna be content like that. And now we get to the build. For artifacts, it's going to be pretty clear cut. Either Maréchaussée Hunter or Golden Troop. I personally recommend Golden Troop because she already has crit rate Ascension, which means it's going to be incredibly easy to overcap on crit rate. As for weapons, it's going to be depending on if you build energy recharge or not. If you aren't, her signature weapon is going to be the best in the slot, followed by Primordial Jade Cutter, Key of Kaj Nisut, Refinement 5 Wolffang, Light of Foliar Incision, R1 Wolffang, and then Mistsplitter, and then Festering Desire. This is very unfortunate because the list is dominated by 5 stars, and then there's a Battle Pass weapon until we finally get to Festering Desire. It does start to look a little more hopeful when you get to the list that actually has an energy recharge requirement. Her signature is going to be best in slot again. What a surprise, it just does so much damage that running energy recharge sands will not hamper you that much. But next up is Festering Desire, which is, you know, a free-to-play weapon. But a lot of people are not going to have this weapon. It's then followed by Key and Jade Cutter, which are 5 stars again. And then it's fucking Favonius, of course it is. Our free-to-play weapons look very limited, but if you do have a Festering Desire, I recommend using that on her the most. If you don't have that, just use Favonius or the Metal Pipe. Now, for teams that I can see her shining in especially, I think every Fontaine character except for Linny so far is going to enjoy having a Furina on their team. especially Nuvilette. But the problem with Nuvilette is that he would really want to have C1 because you're not fully stacking his passive with Furina, but, we'll see how that goes when she comes out. I can also see her being a strong contender in an Alhaitham Quick Bloom team comp, because she is going to have not bad Hydro application, while still not overwhelming the Quicken aura. That's really important for Quick Bloom, and it's the entire reason the team works, so I'm definitely going to try it out. It also gives her burst less importance, because a lot of the team's damage is coming from Hyper Bloom, which is not going to be boosted by the damage bonus from her burst. And now, to finally cap it off with a pros and cons list, Furina is a off-field Hydro character that's going to be doing a lot of damage with fairly good application as well. She is capable of boosting the entire team's damage bonus, as opposed to Yelan, who can only do it for one character. And she is also quite versatile because she can function as a healer, even if you do need to extend the rotation by a bit for it to work. And because she drains the entire team's HP, it's going to mean that every DPS can now use Hunter. As for some negative things I have to say, her application is going to be a bit wonky because her turrets all attack at different speeds, which means that they're not always going to line up with what you want. Her rotations are also going to be a bit goofy if you're not running a healer in the team that has a lot of healing like Baizhu, Jean, or even Kokomi. And she also has absurd energy recharge requirements if you want to burst every rotation as a solo Hydro. But that's about it what I can say for negatives for her. I think she's going to be the best character in the game, and I think you should be pulling for her, absolutely, because I know damn well I will. But after that, everything's for Navia, and the second she gets leaked, oh, it's going to be over for me. Well, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, I hope you like and subscribe. I don't get a lot of subscribers for my videos, which, unfortunate. But maybe this one will change that. Who knows? But I'll catch you next time. Peace.